Hello and welcome to the final episode in this series, Yoga Off the Mat. This is episode 10. We've covered the 8 limbs of yoga, we've talked about breathwork, meditation, movement, chakras, mudras, enlightenment, all kinds of stuff. We've covered all of these different elements of yoga, and so for this final episode, I thought we could talk a little bit about how to take all of those different elements and find a version of yoga, a practice that works for you personally. Now, I wish that I could tell you that it was as simple as take 5 minutes of this breathing exercise and then do this sequence 5 times and then do 10 minutes of meditation. Practice that every day for the rest of your life and you will live peacefully and feeling enlightened forevermore. I wish I could tell you that that was true, but of course it's not. We are all wonderfully unique and we all have different needs, different moods. We're constantly changing and evolving and growing. And so the practice of yoga can move and grow and evolve with us, but it's up to us individually to find what works. I have a lot to say about this subject, about making yoga personal to you and developing a personal, regular practice that works for you. In fact, I had so much that I wanted to say about this that I decided to put it all into a workshop. So next weekend, the 27th of March, I'm doing an online workshop which is available for anyone to join in with, and there will be a recording available for that which you can watch anytime afterwards. In that, I'm going to go into much more detail than I will in this video, with lots of detailed practical advice on how to put together a sequence without having a teacher there present, and how to bring more yoga into your daily life in a way that's manageable and sustainable for you so that you can keep showing up and stay committed to practicing yoga and to, I was about to say living your best life. I hate when people say that. I apologise, but that's kind of what I mean. How you can use the tools of yoga to live a life where you feel in tune with yourself, you feel connected and present and more at peace. Basically, how to live your best life. If you'd like to watch that workshop, I'll put a link to it in the description below. It's only £15 for a 90-minute session, partly practical and partly theory. But in this video, I'm just going to give the 3 big headlines, my 3 biggest pieces of advice for developing your own personal yoga practice and finding a way of practicing yoga that works for you. My first piece of advice for you is try as much as you can. There are so many different types of yoga these days, and every single teacher is different. So it can take a while to find what feels right for you. I always recommend to people to try as many classes as they can, as many teachers, as many styles of yoga, because we all have different tastes. I know that the classes that I teach are not going to be for everyone, and that's fine, because how boring would the world be if we all liked the same things? One of the real benefits of this pandemic, and there aren't many upsides to it, but one of them is the amount of classes that are online now. If you, like me, live in quite a small town, then there aren't many options usually for different styles of yoga class to go along to, but now you can go online and you can try all kinds of stuff. So I really recommend trying out as much stuff as you can. And I'm going to put a little list on the screen now. So something practical you could do to help develop your yoga practice right now is to make a list of all of the things here that you haven't tried before that you might be curious about. And then whenever you feel a bit bored or you want to try something new, you can go back to that list and just go to Google or go to YouTube, type in chakras, type in mudras and see what comes up. Find a practice or a class that you can take so that you can just try these things out and see what you like. Take what works for you and leave what doesn't. But at least try things once so you've got an idea as to how it makes you feel, whether it's helpful and whether you want to incorporate it into your own personal yoga practice. My second big piece of advice is you don't have to practice strong, challenging asanas. When we look at Western yoga, there's a real focus on the physical side of the practice, on twisting and contorting our bodies into these challenging asanas and on doing strong workout style practices. And that's okay. I think if you enjoy really pushing your body and challenging it, then there's nothing wrong with doing that. But sometimes we forget that the real important stuff is what's happening inside. It's what we learn about ourselves during the practice. How it makes us feel, how it helps us to feel more in tune with ourselves and a bit more present and connected in our daily lives. So it really, truly doesn't matter which poses you choose to practice, what style of yoga you choose to do. The important thing is the experience that you're personally having on the inside, your experience of getting closer to your true self. That's really what yoga is. That's the practice. So whether you choose to go for a strong physical practice, working on handstands and arm balances and difficult, challenging asanas, or whether you prefer a slower, more gentle practice, as long as the intention behind that practice is aligned with the true values of yoga, and it's a method for self-inquiry, for getting to know yourself better, the outcome is going to be pretty similar. You're going to end up feeling more present, feeling more connected to your true self, and more at peace in your life. And the third and final piece of advice here is don't be too rigid in your yoga practice. What I mean here is give yourself the space and the freedom to see what you need each day. Don't be too fixed and rigid in your plan for what you're going to do. I personally love planning. I'm a big list writer and planner. So I've been known in the past to write in my schedule for the week. On Monday, I'm going to do a long practice and I'm going to base it on back bends. On Tuesday, I'm going to work on forearm stand. On Wednesday, I'm going to do a long meditation. On Thursday, I'm going to do a yoga nidra. And then of course, when it gets to each of those days, I don't feel like doing that thing because we have no idea how we're going to feel on each day. In that sense, I was treating my yoga practice for the week like an exercise plan, like going to the gym and doing legs on Monday, arms on Tuesday. It's not as simple as that. The practice of yoga invites us to check in each day with how we're feeling and then to see what we need to restore the balance. And of course, we feel completely different from one day to the next, from 1 minute to the next sometimes, especially during a global pandemic. Mood and energy levels just fluctuate like crazy. So when it comes to practicing yoga, each day we need to check in and see what we need. We can't be too rigid in our planning. We need to be a bit more flexible. Pun intended. Some days you might roll out your yoga mat and be feeling really down, low energy, maybe feeling a bit lethargic and just fed up. And so on those kind of days, what you need to bring yourself back to a state of equilibrium, to restore the balance, is something that's going to uplift you and bring you back, give you some energy. So maybe you would do quite a strong physical practice, move and flow and build up some heat in your body, do some strong breath work and maybe a guided meditation to help you refocus and have a clearer mind for the day ahead. And that's going to bring you back and make you feel great. On the next day, you might roll out your mat feeling frazzled, feeling stressed out, anxious, overwhelmed. And so if you were to do that same practice on that day, if you were to do a strong physical practice, you're only going to put more stress on your body and your mind. So on a day when you feel frazzled, when you feel stressed, what you would benefit from more to bring you back to a state of balance is a slower, more grounding practice. A slow flow, maybe a yin style practice, some deep, slow breathing, long meditation or shavasana, things that are going to help to calm your nervous system down. This is the thing that I really love about yoga, is there's so many different elements to it. There's different styles of moving and breathing that can help us to lift up our energy or to calm us down, depending on what we need. So by learning and trying all of these different things, the different elements of yoga, we end up with all of these tools in our yoga toolbox. That's very cringy as well, but you know what I mean. So that on any given day, you can see what you need, go to your little yoga toolbox and get out the bits you need. You can take what works, leave what doesn't. And that's really how we develop our own personal yoga practice, through trying different things, remembering that there's more to it than just a physical exercise class, and not being too rigid, allowing each day to come and go and structuring our yoga practice every day around how we feel. And one last thing, a little bonus tip before we finish. Remember that yoga is not just about what you do when you're physically on your yoga mat. It's the yamas and niyamas, those moral guidelines about how we treat ourselves and how we treat others. It's the intention that we take into each day and into everything that we do to be present, be connected. So if you're keeping those things in mind, even if you're not physically getting on your yoga mat every day, you're still practicing yoga. If you'd like to learn a bit more about this and a bit more about the practical side of how to put a sequence of poses together that works for you and how to bring more yoga into your daily life on and off the yoga mat, then remember to sign up to the self-practice workshop that I'm doing via the link in the description below. You can watch that whenever you like. Thank you so much for watching this video and this whole series. I hope you found it helpful and learned a bit more about yoga. Remember to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already for new videos every Sunday. And if you did enjoy this video, remember to like it, leave me a comment, let me know what you thought, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.